Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, navigating the human experience together.
Hafaday, Tero, and welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. Or should we say, Feliz Pascua, Amasege Labutuad Lai Luch, and Merry Christmas. It's great to be with you on this Christmas evening. This show, of course, was taped before tonight, but it's my pleasure to have with us today Chamorro philosopher and author, no stranger to us, Manny Borja. Uncle Manny, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and best of wishes for the rest of the years.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our chat today. Last time we spoke, we started talking a little bit about the Chamorro language, and we said we were going to come back to this topic, which is dear to your heart. And what better day to do that than today, looking back on what culture means to us and who we are as a people here in the Marianas. What can you start us off with in terms of the Chamorro language in general?
Yes, Josmasi. So I may say that in every human language, there are two components, at least two components. One is the list of words that the language uses. If that language has a dictionary, it would be the words in the dictionary of that language. The other component of the language is the rules that govern those words. The word order, we call those rules the grammar. And so to have the grammar, scientists, like the linguists, the scientists, help in putting down the grammar of any language. But when we learn a language, we don't necessarily need to know the description of the language as the linguists, would put it. For example, a person learning the language would say, for example, Mama, I'm happy, or Daddy, I'm hungry. The parents usually don't say, all right, John, or all right, Susie, Mama is a noun, Dad is a noun, I is a pronoun. But we use those nouns and pronouns
To communicate.
And we may not know that they're nouns, but we use them. But they're when we learn a language, we learn the grammar of the language. So the Chamorro language has a lot, more than half of the words in the Chamorro language now, more than half are non-indigenous words. More than half are Spanish, and more and more English words are coming into the language. There's some Japanese, very few German. But again, because the Chamorro language uses Chamorro grammar, no matter how many words are there that are non-indigenous Chamorro, it doesn't make the Chamorro language, say, be 60% Spanish, because it's 100% Chamorro language, because the grammar is 100% Chamorro.
You gave a good example of this earlier before we started, using the word snow, which is an English word, which we do not actually experience here in the Marianas, and yet it can also be adopted into the Chamorro language. How does that work?
Yes, so let's use the word snow. It's an English word, and this is what I will say in general, that whenever a language borrows or adopts a word from any other language and uses it, it becomes a word for that language. So the word snow, there's no indigenous Chamorro word for snow, but it then borrows the English word, adopts the English word snow to make it part of its word list of
vocabulary.
Words. Vocabulary,
Yes.
And so, using the Chamorro grammar, Chamorro rules, then a Chamorro can say snow no, which means it is snowing, or suminoniga, it snowed yesterday. In Chamorro we can put infix, in the middle of words, like sumino, there will be infix to make it rained yesterday. I mean, it snowed yesterday.
Okay.
And so that is important to know that a new word in a language will be acted upon by the rules of the language. And sometimes when a language borrows a word from another language, it may not keep the same meaning exactly as it is. For example, in Chamorro, we have a Spanish word boca, and in Spanish it means mouth, but in Chamorro it means food and
Eat?
To
eat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maleta from boca, let's
Yes.
eat. Off in a boca, what's the food? What kind of food? And so then the word boca, even though it is a Spanish word, originally, when it becomes a Chamorro word, then it can be used as bumoboka.
Which means we are eating?
Eating, yes.
Okay.
Or someone is eating, bumoboka. That's correct. And so, but you don't say that in Spanish, no?
Right.
Bumoboka.
Because those are the Chamorro grammar rules.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. And another example, if I may use this, which I think is important to say at this time, because just to communicate and to we are in the spirit of Christmas and New Year, and the more we try to understand and keep the spirit of oneness and happiness and joy, I would like to talk about the word from the Tagalog word Tagalog. In the Philippines, there are many ethnic groups and many different languages, and one of those ethnic groups is Tagalog, which is also the language of that ethnic group. And then there's the Ilocano with the Ilocano language. But historically, in the Chamorro language, for some reason, it turned out that the word Tagalog means a male person from the Philippines.
That's the way the Chamorro language has adopted that word.
Adopted and means it, It uses it just like it uses boca to mean food rather than mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so as an example of how the Chamorro uses the word Tagalog, it then also has an added word that is not in Tagalog, which is Tagala. In the Chamorro language, Tagalog is a male person from the Philippines. Tagala is a female person from the Philippines. And so what is good to understand is that when a Chamorro uses the word Tagalo or Tagala, it is not to ignore the sensitivity of the other ethnic groups, but it is the meaning that has been passed down from my parents. When they say Tagalog or Tagala, they meant person from the Philippines, and they heard that from their parents too. So it's a meaning that has been passed down. And so for those who may feel now that is derogatory, Chamorros are not using it at all in that sense of being derogatory. It's just in a sense that it means that one.
That's your understanding of how the word was adopted into the Chamorro language.
Yes, and the important thing to know is that, or to remember, is that borrowed words, when they are used in a language, becomes a word for that language. And so there's the difference. This language uses that word, which may be totally different from, just like boca. And so, is there something wrong? From, let's say, in Spanish, boca is mouth, perfect. In Chamorro, boca is food, to eat, and it's also perfect in the sense that, in that meaning. But for those who do not see that holistically, then they say, "Oh, there's something wrong." The Chamorros are saying it.
The understanding, or
the Chamorros are saying it wrongly, and then maybe if the Chamorro doesn't know that it's from Spanish, and they heard Spanish say that, and they mean mouth, and say, "Oh, you're saying it differently because it's not supposed to be mouth; it's supposed to be eat." But understanding and communication is very important, and so it is good to be understanding and to be forgiving should that happens. That we.
Thank you for sharing that as to how you see how that word has been adopted into the Chamorro language. At the same time, I feel it's also important to also think about how we want to be identified, shall we say, as a Chamorro, or as an American, or as a Carolinian, or as a Filipino.
Exactly, yeah.
It's also important to recognize how people want to be called, especially nowadays when we all have equal rights.
Yes, no, absolutely. That is important, and that is why I think education is important to see that, so that you see the different perspectives from the same word, and to also be aware of the sensitivity that people have regarding words that are used. Yeah.
So along the line of adopted words, since it is Christmas, you actually have some insight related to why we say Feliz Pascua instead of Feliz Navidad. What have you found about this word, and are we wrong? Are we saying it wrong, Uncle Manny?
Yes. I wasn't aware that we might have been saying it wrong until working at the college in NMC, and there's this good friend of mine, he passed away, Bruno della Pozza. Do you know him?
Yes.
He's an Italian. And he said, "Why are you Chamorro saying Feliz Pascua? Pascua is Easter in Italian." And I said, "Oh." So then it made me look into that. And what happens is that Pascua historically meant in many countries that use this Pascua for any festival like Christmas, Easter, the Pentecost.
Oh.
All of those, even like having to do with the solstice and things like that. So the Pascua is like celebration, and so it was used then within the context of what's happening. Just like if a person has an anniversary and we say happy anniversary, that person will know what that means, whether it's
which anniversary you're referring to.
That's right. And
is it wedding anniversary or?
Yeah. And so in that context, that anniversary fits into that.
Okay.
And so during the Spanish time, when the Marianas was a colony of Spain, the Spanish were using Feliz Pascua during Christmas time to express the meaning of the Christmas spirit. And that meaning of Christmas spirit continued in the Chamorro language to mean Merry Christmas until now. But many Spanish-speaking countries use now Feliz Navidad. But the Chamorros continue to use Feliz Pascua to mean Merry Christmas, because that was how it originally was passed down, and they don't want to change.
So then Feliz Pascua is something you might say, as you said, before Christmas, or around, in celebration of Christmas, in celebration of Easter, in celebration of Pentecost, the day of Pentecost, or other major festivals, if I understand you correctly.
Yes, it is in the time before.
The time before,
yeah.
Okay.
That was what was used for, like just happy July 4th, happy Thanksgiving, that happy ness festival. So the happy festival could be during Easter, it could be Christmas, it could be Pentecost, it could be different kinds of festivals. And during the festival of Christmas was the time the Spanish were using Feliz Pascua, and that remained in the language to mean in Chamorro Merry Christmas. And so to differentiate between Feliz Pascua and Easter in Chamorro, we then use, and many countries use it also differently, like this, we would say Pascua and Resurrection for Easter. But now it is mostly for Easter, a lot of people will just use Easter, you know, this Happy Easter instead of saying Feliz Pascua and Resurrection. Like
so basically, Feliz Pascua is not only appropriate for us to use during Christmas, we could actually use it several times throughout the year. Not to confuse anybody. Let's maybe not start doing that, but technically what you're saying is it would still be correct.
It would still be correct, exactly. But I would recommend it because now, before people can, it's like liquid, that can flow.
Okay.
But now, language is very much like static, that you compartmentalize, this and this and this and that. And so now we're very much compartmentalizing things. And so I'd better not use something that's liquid in the past to mean those where when people understand now there's this one and that.
Okay, gotcha.
But the understanding is important to know.
Thank you for sharing that and for letting us know that it's totally appropriate for us to say Feliz Pascua.
Yes, yes.
All right.
And it shows up in some other countries, like in Chile. There is a bread that's called pan de Pascua, which means Christmas bread.
Oh, okay.
And not Easter bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more about different areas related to the language. We will be back after this break as Uncle Manny talks to us more about Chamorro words that help us understand what it means to be human. Deep thoughts on this Christmas after the break.
Hafaday, Zantiro. I'm Leo Pangilinan with the Northern Marianas Humanities Council. We'd like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors who have made possible the many programs in our community like this show. We couldn't have done it without them. And if you value the work we do and would like to make a contribution to our efforts, we ask that you consider making an in-kind or cash contribution to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council. Any amount is appreciated, and donations of up to $5,000 qualify for an educational tax credit. We appreciate your partnership and support. Sidzus Maasi, Olomai, and thank you.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Uncle Manny Borja about the Chamorro language today. Uncle Manny, this word that we're going to talk about briefly, there's so much we could say about this word, gef, gof, which means very or very much so. How does this play into not only the language, but Chamorro culture, how the people see themselves? It's such a small word, but there's a lot behind it.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. I would like to use two words that use the word gef or gof. And the first one, it would be gef tau. And for this, the explanation of this, we have to thank our sister linguist Sandy Chong, because she revealed that in the mother tongue of the Chamorro language, also usually two syllables, maila, kam.
A lot of two-syllable words.
A lot of syllables. But even when it is one syllable, it is duplicated. So the word Tao Tao is the word Tao, but because it's one syllable Tao, it becomes Tao Tao. But what is interesting is that there is already a dictionary definition of Gef Tao, which means being a giving person or being generous or generosity. So in the Chamorro language, then, it shows that in the Chamorro language, Gef Tao is also Gef Tao Tao, because Tao is Tao Tao, right?
Tao Tao is people.
Tao Tao is people, and Tao is people. It's the same thing. It's one and the same word. Tao is person, people. Tao Tao is person, people. The only difference is that if it's by itself, Tao, it becomes duplicated to be Tao Tao. But when it's used in the Gef Tao, we don't need to use Gef Tao Tao because it's already two-syllable word. And that two-syllable word means generous.
Gef Tao means,
Gef Tao means generous, being given, yeah, generous.
Tao Tao means people.
People. So the word generous means truly, Gef Tao means truly human. To be Gef Tao is to be truly human. And what does truly human equate to? Being generous.
Yes.
In the Chamorro language. So being generous and being truly human is one and the same in the Chamorro language. So here we see the psychology of the language that defines who we are. You know, many different academic disciplines tell us anthropologically, sociologically, humans are this and this. In the Chamorro language, it says humans are this. To be truly human is to be giving.
Very giving.
Giving. And then the opposite, Tat Tao, Tat means hardly. So the opposite of Gef Tao is Tat Tao, which means, Tat Tao Tao means hardly a human. Another word, any question on that?
No, but I wanted to say this makes me think, you know, a lot of times when the Chamorros talk about the values that are important to them, they will say respeto, respect, inafamalik, which means to do good to others. Inafamalik, we hear it all the time. And that is related to Gef Tao, very giving, Tao Tao, people.
That's right. And then the other one, since we don't have a whole day, Kathy, you reminded me of
Next
that
time.
one. Gofli. Gof again means, you know, to really, very, and li'i means to see. So we already have a dictionary definition of gofli'i, meaning to love in a general sense of loving, you know, fanag gofli'i, be loving each other.
Gefli'i is to love. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or to be loving.
So the prefix gof and gev are variants, so you can say gofli or gefli, you know, for the gofli, and then we can say gofli or gefli. When I say gofli, the accent is in the first of those.
Gefli'i.
Gofli'i or gefli'i.
Yes, means to
love, you know,
to
in general
love.
sense. And then if I say gofli'i, to really see, it's the same letters there, gofli'i or gefli and gofli'i. It's just a matter of the stress.
Yes.
So when I say gefli'i, to really see, to really understand. In Chamorro then we're saying it's the same thing to really love and to really understand.
To really see somebody.
To really see,
Is to really love
focus,
somebody.
yeah. Until you really see it there, to really see, you know, clearly, by the act of doing that, you are doing the act of loving. There is a sense, there's a saying that one can more easily love what one understands, and also what one can more easily understand what one loves. So there's that connection. It's like a side of the coin.
I totally can understand that.
Yeah. And so those side of the coins, you know, is that to really see, and the other side is to really, is to love.
Yes.
It's the same coin.
that I would say I can relate to that in what I do here on the show, in that I feel people really appreciate being listened to and being given the opportunity to tell their story, and it does make them feel appreciated and loved when they are allowed to be seen. They have a platform, they have an opportunity to share their story,
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
doing now.
Yeah, so sometimes I consider myself the crazy Manny.
Philosopher, philosopher.
So for me then, based on this, I would say in terms of extremes that the ultimate education would be to really understand everything so that we can love everything, or to really love everything so that we can understand everything. And when we're in that, loving and understanding, we're exercising our divinity.
Can we leave our viewers with a little Chamorro? I don't want to say, at the end of the year, I always try to talk about something related to mental health or physical health, moving into the new year. And we were chatting before the show about this word called potlu.
Yes.
And how can we, what is it, number one, and how can this word help us de-stress our lives if we choose to use it?
Thank you, Kathy. I like this word, but may I also then say that in the past when I was growing up on Saipan, every New Year's Eve, people would go. At that time, there were only a few major churches on the island, and people belonged to almost of the same faith. So they would go to church. But after the midnight mass on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, people go to the front of the church and shake hands and forgive each other. It was, everybody does that. So neighbors who someone may not be talking would shake hands at the end of the mass, and then they would start to be talking. It was a very beautiful practice. Now, we don't do that, but I think it is good for me, starting for the new year, to suggest that forgiving is really healthy and important, and then we don't necessarily need to, if I'm going to forgive someone, it would be good if I go and say, I'm sorry for this or whatever, but I can also do a forgiving by not going to this person, by just saying it in your mind, because thoughts are energy, and that energy of forgiveness is there, and so when we do that, it's good. Now, with the word polo. So polo, I love this word, and for those of us who have been given names, some people are given this name and that name, just like, similar but not necessarily, because Galileans do it traditionally, have different names, other than the baptismal name. But this one are names that we chose to, in our older age, to be kind of like the expert in that area. So I am Guadalupolo, which means that for anybody who would like to learn more about polo, then, I am blessed to explain that.
Yes, explain it now, quickly.
So, polo has many, many different words, like put there or thinking.
Polusti, put this here.
Put this there.
Yeah.
Pinulonya na gizawa sating malaga, she thinks that she's the fastest runner. Piniloko gibanko, I have some savings. There's many, many. But what I would like to talk about is the polo in the cultural meaning. And there are so many different phrases to that. Polo basta, polo parafon enno.
Polo basta means stop. Polo.
Yeah, polo basta, leave it no more, don't.
Drop it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, and another meaning is let it be, polo.
Yeah.
So here's a family of mother and two children, and one child is being bothered by the other because of what the other child is doing, and this child says, "Mom, look at this." And when the mom says polo, that child accepts it
Let it go, maybe is a better
let
way to
it
say.
go and knows that it's okay. It doesn't have to, be angry. It diffuses the anger and it's acceptance. So polo is very much acceptance, and I think it is very helpful to be very accepting more than to be resisting of how
Because so many
are.
things are out of our control.
Very many things are out of control, but we can control, because as human beings we have free choices, free will, and we can control what we think. We can control, if I'm going to remember something in the past, I can control to think of those in the past that will make me angry or will make me happy. And so I would suggest that we use the word polo in terms of thinking of the past. Polo, it's already done. Don't think about it anymore. Don't bring back that energy.
Let it go.
Let it go. So polo is like a pill, like if you are stressful because of how, and you take the polo pill, okay, I can be centered now and let that go and then go forward. So polo is a wonderful word, and it's culturally, it's just let it be. Because there's also another phrase in Chamorro like "Sidus ti mamaigo," God doesn't sleep. So sometimes when we don't accept things, it's because we don't see the wider scheme of things, and because in the sense of "Sidus ti mamaigo," it can also mean justice. Is there any,
I was going to say, a lot of times it might be, I think a good time to use polo would be when we get offended by something that somebody did.
Exactly.
Polo is like, just put it aside.
Exactly. And so someone says some bad word to me, for example, no matter how angry I can be, that bad word has already been spoken. It cannot be unspoken. So the best thing was to follow. It's already done, rather than to take it to me
and let it keep hurting you and
and
irritating you or whatever.
If we have time, there's this story of two monks in Japan who were walking down to these two towns, and then on their way back, in the middle town, it had rained, and on the side of the road was muddy. There was this beautiful kimono wearing woman who was deciding how to cross the road. And so one of the monks simply carried her and polu her on this. Put her there.
Yes.
And on their way to the monastery, halfway there, the other monk who did not carry asked the monk, the other one who carried, said, we profess to not mingle and much less touch women, and that's what you did. And the other monk said, when I polu her there, when I put her there, I left her there. Why are you still carrying her? Making you so stressed out and so because he didn't polo.
Yeah.
Just
carrying it, the distress.
Carry the distress, yeah.
Well, I think you've really left us with some words of wisdom this Christmas. Literally or figuratively shake hands with people that you need to make peace with, and potlu for a more peaceful new year.
Thank you, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we go?
Yes, we talked about giving. Christmas is a time of giving. And when I first graduated from college, a young guy sat next to me thinking because I graduated from college, I must know a lot of things. So he asked me what's the secret of life, and I didn't know. I looked at him and I was happy that he's philosophizing. But that's 60 years ago. If I were going to tell him what's the secret, it would be, you do not lose when you give. You reap what you sow. So all the good things that you give to another, you will receive the energy. Giving, so in the mindset, I lose because I give you that and I don't have it. But in the heart, logic, I gain by
Gain.
giving. Yeah, so that's the secret of life. We don't lose by giving. And just look at Christmas, we don't lose by giving.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
philosophy with us today. And again, you're welcome when you have more to share.
Thank you, Kathy.
Feliz
Thank you.
Pascua.
Thank you too for what you're doing. We're so happy that we have somebody on the island who is as professional as you are and todo malik, todo.
Our guest today has been Chamorro philosopher and author Uncle Manny Borja, sharing his insights. Wow, it's just amazing how this conversation has come together related to culture and Christmas and the New Year and things of the heart. We wish you a very Merry Christmas. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour has been made possible in part by a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Democracy demands wisdom. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities. For more information or to share your thoughts, contact the Northern Marianas Humanities Council at nmhcouncil.org or on social media at 670 Humanities. That's 670 Humanities.